They sunbath, and I don't know the actual cause of the jaundice.
Yes.
So what are you managing?
So there's this woman who loses her babies within the first month of birth, and this is the third time. She's confused, frustrated, and depressed. Her marriage is hanging on the thread. Well, most people think it's a curse, others think it's bad luck, or maybe she did something to offend someone and the person did something to her. But one thing is constant in all the cases of her 3 babies. They always have yellowish eyes, palms, and then feet. What could actually be causing this? Join me today on Midwife's Diary as we delve into it. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Evelyn and I'm a registered midwife. On Midwife's Diary, we talk about everything maternal and newborn care. If this is your first time here, hey, please consider subscribing to the channel. I have with me here one of my nurses who is actually my in charge. Boss, you're welcome.
Thank you.
So I'm going to let her introduce herself and then we get into the whole conversation.
So I'm Felicia from Poma.
How long have you been working exactly?
10 years.
10 good years. How can I know?
Yes.
Okay. And for how long have you been working in the neonatal intensive care unit?
So it's 3 years. I've had 3 years experience at the NICU.
So with the case scenario that I was given, what do you think could be the possible cause of this whole neonatal mortality for this woman?
Well, I think it's neonatal jaundice.
Okay.
Looking at the scenario you gave, the yellowy discoloration of the eyes, the soles of the feet and the hands.
It's jaundice?
Yes, it's exactly jaundice.
Okay, so what is jaundice?
So, I would like to say something small about neonatal jaundice. So when we say someone is a neonate, it's simply a baby born from day 0 up to 28 days.
Okay.
Then when we say jaundice, jaundice is a yellow discoloration of the skin of these neonates, right? Sometimes right from birth.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we fuse it together, it's simply discoloration of the newborn skin, right from day 0 up to 28 days.
Okay.
That's how we define neonatal jaundice.
Okay. So, but wait, what actually causes this?
Okay, so we have different forms
Of the jaundice.
Then let's say when we talk in general, so infection can cause neonatal jaundice.
Okay.
Then the fact that you're a preterm baby or you are born before your time prematurely can also cause jaundice.
Sophie, I'm coming. Infection. What could make a newborn baby who is born within 28 days have an infection? Because
Okay, so usually they get the infection through their cord care.
okay.
If it's not well managed, then they can pick the infection from there. Then that one will cause the harm for the baby to get the neonatal jaundice.
Okay, guys, I have a video on cord care. So I'm going to leave the link in the description box below. So if you've not watched that video, I talked about the signs that will let you know that your baby's cord is infected. Please click on this and then get to watch it. Stephanie, please let's continue.
Okay, then we can actually group the causes to maybe pathological, physiological, breastfeeding,
And
breast
milk
milk.
jaundice as
Okay,
well.
so when we talk about the pathological, it could be from our blood group.
Yeah.
A man,
ABO,
the ABO
incompatibility.
and the resource factor as well. So let's take the ABO. Let's say your husband is an A or AB, then you are O.
Oh.
There will be some
Antigens and antibody
reactions, and that one can actually have an effect on the baby. Then we can also talk about the resource incompatibility, where a negative and a positive parent come together and they get pregnant.
Yes.
That one too also have an effect on the baby. So with the resource incompatibility, if let's say it's the first time pregnancy, if that one there is a drug anti-D that it will be administered. That one, when it gets to that time, they will do it for you. So we have a defects like the GCSPD.
Yeah.
The GCSPD, we have 2 types. There's one with the partial defects, then the one with the full defects. With the full defects, it comes with its own complications and other things. Okay, fine. So that one also predisposes the baby to neonatal jaundice.
And you see, with the way our mothers put camphor in our things to make it smell nice and all of that, you see, that one too has an effect. If the baby has GSPD,
sure,
it could cause the hemolysis of the. I'm using a lot of things.
It's called the breakdown of the red blood cells before its time. So talking about the naphthalene balls, that's the camphor.
The camphor.
That one, even if you don't even have any defects, like this is PD defects, and it's being used in your clothing, either on the baby's clothing or the parent's clothing, or even in the house and the surroundings, it can still cause harm on the baby. So looking at the preterms, we first said that most of the preterm babies will be jaundice. This is due to their immatured liver. So when the red blood cell breaks down, ideally with the matured ones, it takes 120 days for it to break down. Okay, but in the neonate, it takes 90 days.
So it breaks down quite rapidly.
Quite rapidly. And when it breaks down, the end product of the breakdown of the red blood cells will be blue ribbon.
Yes.
Okay, so in the preterms, it's even much quicker than the term babies. So when this process is ongoing, maybe the baby has not even started breastfeeding because mother is not lactating yet. So when there is a breakdown of the red blood cells rapidly, then the blue ribbon is formed. It's formed more in the preterms as well because for them, their organs are not so matured.
And you see that even their HB levels are even way higher than in adults.
Yes. So that's what actually leads to their skin. You can see the baby is pink all over or red over. By the time you say Jack, baby is yellowish.
Yes. Okay. So in that case, meaning that when this bilirubin is formed, it means that it has to be excreted out of the body and all of that. Then that will lead us back to the breastfeeding and the breast milk jaundice that we're talking about. Meaning that it is very important to body. How does that affect the excretion of this bilirubin from the skin, the body of the baby?
Okay. So when a baby is able to get adequate breast milk, if a baby is able to get adequate breast milk, the pile up of the bilirubin in the system will be reduced. It will help it to turn the bilirubin into absorbable liquid so that it will be excreted through the urine and the poo-poo. So it's this bilirubin that gives the urine the yellowish color in adults and the poo-poo. The color change. When a baby is born, let's say the first 24 to 48 hours, you see the poo-poo is greenish in color.
Yes, the meconium.
The meconium. So when baby doesn't get adequate breast milk, then it means bilirubin too will also be compiled in there because breaking down the bilirubin becomes another difficult task for the baby. Okay.
And definitely, if the baby is not getting adequate breast milk, there will be, like I say, undidi. Out. Okay. So now, are we done with the pathological jaundice?
So with the pathological, we talked about the G6PD and maybe injury during birth.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Injury, maybe mother was not able to push as and when. There's some babies who come up with their head past swollen, careful hematoma, corpus ossidatum. Yes. They'll come out with that one too can also cause jaundice. Because
there'll be breakdown of red blood cells.
Blood cells which will be accumulated there. And baby needs to also excrete the bilirubin out. Yes, that one.
Okay, so can we move on to the physiological jaundice?
So with the physiological jaundice, sometimes you don't actually even know the actual cause of it. Okay. But the fact that baby is preterm alone predisposes the baby. Okay, and that one, so it usually happens within, let's say, after 48 hours of delivery. Let's say after day 3, baby can also experience such, but it doesn't have the actual cause, unlike the pathological. Okay. We have another one, that one is breastfeeding jaundice. Breast milk jaundice, sorry. So the breast milk jaundice, here there's actually an enzyme in the breast milk that causes the jaundice. But it doesn't mean when it's realized that baby is having that particular type, we will let the baby stop breastfeeding. Okay. We have to let the baby feed till baby system gets adjusted to it whilst we treat the neonatal jaundice.
Okay. So meaning that in all of this, when your baby is yellowish in the house and you're able to detect it, you will not know which of the jaundice is actually causing this whole thing. So you probably might be thinking that, oh, so I am going to be doing my own traditional something, but it could be GSPD, it could be ABO incompatibility, it could be breast milk, it could be breastfeeding, and also it could actually be infection. So what are some of the signs and symptoms that I'll see in my baby that will help me to detect that my baby actually has jaundice?
Okay. So before you even see the signs and symptoms, you have to send the baby to a well-exposed area where there is
bright lights.
Bright lights.
I think I always like stressing on this thing when I'm educating the mothers. You see, usually when a newborn baby comes to the house, we put the baby in the room, we don't bring the baby out. I won't say our lights in our rooms, especially our bedroom, is blue light.
Ouch.
So if the light is blue and the baby is jaundice, you won't see it.
You will never see
it. You won't see it. So just like you were saying, you have to bring the baby out in a well-exposed area.
Okay. So that you just observe the baby's skin. It usually starts from the face.
Okay.
It starts from the face. You see some patches of yellowish discoloration on the face. Then it spreads down to the skin, the chest. Then it spreads to the other parts. But before you even identify the palm, the soles of the feet and the palms are yellow, then it means it has gotten to its highest point. So the best thing, the moment you see your baby's face has changed in color, you have to send the baby right to the hospital for the necessary tests to be done so that we ascertain the actual cause of the neonatal jaundice.
Okay, so if I bring my baby to the hospital, what will you people do for my baby?
Okay, one, we will do a jaundice workout. I think
what's that?
Yes, I have to break it down. So we have to check the baby's blood group. We check the baby's blood group. We will screen baby for GSPD. We will screen for direct comb test. Then we do serum bilirubin. In fact, the serum bilirubin will tell you if baby is jaundice, the level of it and what you are supposed to do for the baby at that particular time.
And which kind of the jaundice it is, because it could be conjugate.
Yes, and which type of jaundice it is, depending on the parameters you have on the results. Until we do the labs, we will never know the actual management for the baby. So this lab is going to tell us if it's an infection. We first have to treat the underlying cause. Let's say it's called infection. You have to treat the underlying cause. Then you also treat the jaundice itself. So if you don't take the sample, how will you ascertain if it's maybe infection? To what degree has the infection caused? Okay. Then it will also help us to know whether if it's just a speedy, they want to know so that in future we know what to tell the mother as well. In fact, it's the phototherapy that we use to manage the neonatal jaundice. So when you get to a hospital, we have different forms of phototherapy. It comes in blue color. But it doesn't mean the bulbs we buy outside for our rooms can actually manage the jaundice. The blue lights we have in the hospital, especially meant for that. And the weight and the strength of the bulb is not just as the ones that we see outside to decorate our rooms.
Okay.
So that one you can even use it. And the phototherapy, we have the length at which the baby is supposed to be under it. With the
distance from the
distance from the light to the baby. And I don't think your room can even give you that. Okay. Then the duration, you cannot do that in the house. So it's best, and the baby is supposed to be exposed. So when you have the blue light in your home, maybe your room may also be cold. But with the phototherapy in the hospital, it will provide the baby with warmth. Okay. Because the baby will be exposed, wear only diaper, and the eye will be covered with an eye shield.
Okay.
You can't do that in the house. You need to bring the baby to the hospital.
Okay, fine. I get you. What about sunlight?
Okay. So that one, okay, fine. So it's actually sunbath.
Okay.
So sunbath. But I want to ask this question. You as an adult, how do you feel when you even walk in the sun? how does your skin feel? How much more like that tiny baby, the newly born, the preterm baby you want to expose to this cold weather and the sun?
Mercifully, we won't use the hot sun. We will use the early mornings. The one that they said it has vitamin D.
Okay, so let's look at our system currently. When does the sun even comes out?
Okay,
And when
that's one factor.
That's one factor. And when it comes out, like how the hotness in the sun, how sure are you that, okay, this time that I'm going to put my baby under this sun bath, and I don't know the actual cause of the jaundice.
Yes.
So what are you managing? I had this experience. I met a mother at the MB unit of Confanoche. She brought a baby, day 2 of life. Baby was obviously jaundice. Like you could see, baby was day 2 of life. Baby was jaundice all over. So I took the chance to ask her, "Oh, Auntie, how are you doing?" Then she said she was fine. What was here? She said, "My baby's color has changed." I said, "Ooh, let me." So I asked her whether she was diagnosed with GCPD and all that. She said no. So I asked her, "Do you use camphor?" Then she said yes.
Wow.
So I was like, wow. Do you use it in your clothes or the baby's clothes? I said, oh, I like the smell. So I usually put it in their bag when I'm packing it. I said, wow, that's the main cause of it.
This thing.
Then she was like, ooh.
So was the first baby alive?
The first baby was alive.
Okay.
The first baby too had jaundice on the 3rd day.
Okay.
So she sent the baby to the facility and they did the phototherapy. But I think, unfortunately, she didn't get the consent from there.
Yeah.
So this time when I met her for the second time with the same issue, she realized that was the cause of it.
Okay. But could taking yellowish substances to cause jaundice, let's say mangoes and then maybe Fanta, orange and other things, could that also be a cause of this jaundice?
So this is actually a myth
Okay.
that most mothers think causes it. So come to think of it, looking at mango, it doesn't have anything that will cause neonatal jaundice.
It's yellow.
Yes, but it doesn't. There's so many vitamins in it. That will even help you and your baby.
Okay.
Looking at carrots.
Yeah.
Carrots actually give a nice skin to you and your baby.
Yeah.
So you have to take it.
Okay. So pregnant women, they are not allergic to mangoes or anything.
No, as far as your health provider has not given you any food to stay away with, you are entitled to eat everything so that your baby will be healthy.
Okay. So if I decide not to bring my baby to the hospital, what will happen?
Okay, so if you decide not to bring your baby to the hospital, after you've seen the baby's skin is yellowish, which I said start from the face, press down, then you are causing harm. Because jaundice is not something that should even lead to any complication when it's well managed. Let's say you first see it's early detection and you are good to go. So when you stay in the house, let's say you saw baby was yellowish, you decided to ignore or do your other things. It progresses.
Before hospital and phototherapy came, we were managing our jaundice. We were giving our concoctions and all of that. So
before, first we didn't know that was the cause of it, because you get someone that tell you me ubia na wawu na watching back na wawu endi na watching me na wawu.
You've seen such cases before?
Yes, I've met 2 mothers.
Wow.
Yes, she lost 2 of them. So the 3rd one, she was diagnosed with neonatal jaundice. She saw it on the 2nd day. Okay, so it was there that the health workers took the opportunity to educate her. So in fact, with this woman, when she had a second, like let's say her 4th pregnancy, second baby, a live baby, she didn't even stay. She just brought the baby. She said, because of my experience, I don't want to send this baby home. Even after managing the neonatal jaundice under the phototherapy, giving her the needed advice, she said until she spent the same days as she spent for the first one alive, she's not leaving
the hospital. So as I bring my baby to the hospital, we are giving the baby phototherapy. as a mother, what should I also be doing?
So as a mother, your role is to provide breast milk for the baby.
Okay.
Provide breast milk for the baby, because it's breast milk that will also help in clearing of the jaundice from the system. So ideally, every 2 hours, baby is supposed to breastfeed. If baby cannot suckle the breast milk on his or her own, you can express.
Okay.
You can express and you give it to the baby whilst phototherapy is ongoing.
Okay.
Don't stay at home. Don't manage neonatal jaundice in the house. Okay, because it can lead to so many complications. You will see a baby who cannot sit, who cannot stand, who cannot feed, who cannot take solid foods. Sometimes it's as a complication of neonatal jaundice.
Wow, meaning that there's some part of brain damage here.
Sure.
So wait, can jaundice travel to the brain?
Yes, jaundice can travel to the brain. We call something BBB. So we call something BBB. So when the jaundice is normal,
the blood-brain
barrier. Yes, the blood-brain barrier. So when jaundice is not properly managed, it travels bypass this BBB we are talking about, and it's actually discolor the brain, making it yellow.
Wow.
Okay, and that one causes so much harm, which in medical terms we term a bind or connectoris. So this one will affect the whole brain. The brain will not be able to function well. No. And when your brain is damaged, I bet you there's nothing else you can do, which can even lead to death.
Wow.
So you see babies not being able to walk well, they have issues with eating, they cannot even control their neck, and other complications.
They have issues with eating, like how they can't eat food.
Some of them can't even swallow. You feed them and it will remain in their mouth for a longer time.
Even as like when they grow and become adults, they still have that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So in the hospitals, let's say when you come and we see that the complications has already started, where there's shrill cry, baby cannot cry well, baby cannot feed, or baby is weak, the neck is just at the back.
Back like that.
Yes, baby's head is just at the back like that. There's this management we can do, which will actually reduce the risk. So we do something we call exchange blood transfusion.
Okay.
With that one, it's like we will take blood from the baby out and we give a new one. But I beg of you, we are not taking everything out before we give a new one. So it goes in a cycle form where we take and we infuse the blood at the same time. Yes, as you are giving, you are taking some out in a way to reduce the risk. The risks that the baby has already gained. But the chances are that even after exchange transfusion, if baby is at the higher risk, let's say baby is at a risk of 10/10, and you reduce about two parts of it.
So meaning that if, let's say, the harm has already been done, there's minimal that can be we can do at the hospital.
That is
so it means that it is better to be prevented. You always say this, it's better to be safe than to be sorry.
Yes.
So it is better that we detect it early. You bring your baby in early, because baby it's like we are continuing.
Yes.
From there.
So wherever the damage has been done, that is where we are going to do the correction. So if the damage is less, it makes the work easier and it prevents any future complications for the baby.
Okay. You mentioned the shrill cry. How is it like?
So like you don't actually hear that baby cry. That will be maybe or something. Like
so like the way a cat is crying,
yes.
Like the way it used to be like.
Yes, the way a cat cries and like everybody can.
Well, okay.
Okay, baby cannot actually do anything. Some of them will be drooling. There will be saliva coming out from the mouth. Some of them will be having high body temperature. Others will have low body temperature. Others to, like, they are so weak, they are lethargic.
Wow.
Yes, they are lethargic.
Guys, so as you are listening, these are all danger signs. If you see any of these things, you need to bring your baby to the hospital. So, Estafili, what are some of the other myths you've heard about this whole jaundice and all of that?
Okay. So others associate neonatal jaundice with spirituality, where they will send their babies to churches for them to pray for them and other things. Others will give herbal medications. Then they will tell like, oh, akrabia enya jaundice. It's never true. Enya akrabia enya jaundice. So there are some people who will give birth and none of their kids will get neonatal jaundice. It's just a myth. There are some to tell you when you see your baby's eye is yellow, just put on, instill some breast milk and it will go. But I tell you guys, breast milk, the root of breast milk is not for the eye, it's for the mouth. Baby needs to swallow the breast milk and get healthy and also get rid of the accumulated bilirubin in the system. The eye cannot digest breast milk, and it will not even cure or manage any condition in your baby. Okay. Then another thing is, when you take about, let's say, 10 babies, not every baby will be jaundice. Part of them will have neonatal jaundice, and parts will also not have. But for the preterm, 80% of preterm babies will have jaundice. Okay, so we have to be on the alert. And don't wait to hear the crow cry, the shrill cry, then the baby being lethargic before you send your baby. Bring your baby out every morning. Observe the baby's skin. When baby's color is changing, kindly send baby to the hospital straight for proper management.
So guys, we're coming to the end of this whole discussion. Stephanie, do you have any last words for us?
What I want to say is, when you spot the jaundice early and the treatment is commenced early, you have a safe baby. But when you prolong the treatment and you resist, frankly, it causes much harm. And those of us who deliver via CS, we stay in the hospital for about 3 days and before we go home. Whilst in the hospital, be on the alert. Be observing your babies. Be prompting the midwife if you see any changes on your baby, so that the baby will be managed in the hospital before you go home.
Stephanie, thank you so much for coming. I'm so glad. We've been planning this thing like long time. I'm so happy that finally I've been able to have you here on the channel. Guys, thank you so much for your time. Please leave a comment in the comment section below. Please. This is Jaundice Month, so please don't forget to share this video, give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to the channel if you've not subscribed already. As and always, this is Midwife's Diary, and you know, we are walking the talk of motherhood. Bye. This woman is dejected. Hey, and I can't say dejected. Oh, but I'm pronouncing it.